Apologies are all the rage in Canada. This is the Great White North Report.
I'm in love with the system, never going home. I'm in love.
Our glorious Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has apologized for the anti-black racism experienced by No. 2 Construction Battalion. Members of the battalion served with distinction in the First World War. First of all, none of these guys are even alive anymore, so it's a little late for the apology there. One thing about Justin, he does a lot of apologizing. He apologizes for everything under the sun, but I don't think he means any of it. Sincerity is not one of his trademarks. It was completely pointless. So they formally apologized to descendants and relatives of the men of the 2nd Construction Battalion 106 years after the formation of the historic battalion that faced anti-black racism during the First World War. You'd think they were the only blacks in France at the time. No, the French were using North Africans and Senegalese. The British were using black soldiers from all over the Dominion. The United States had segregated black battalions. So it was nothing new. You know, it shouldn't have happened, but it did. That was you got to remember the time frame you're dealing with. And they weren't exactly in any great numbers either. So they were forced to be segregated from white troops, and they were used primarily in non-combat situations to clear trees, build roads, and maintain railway tracks. Again, that's nothing new. The flip side is that we put them in the line, in the front line, and they got killed, cut to pieces, they'd still be screaming that we used them as cannon fodder. We just left them out to die, just like. And now he's saying we can ever let what happened to No. 2 Construction Company happen again. Well, we don't. Blacks and other minorities can join the Canadian Armed Forces at any time, and be treated equally with everyone else. Trudeau is definitely out of touch with reality, and he's pandering to it. So they're trying to make the Canadian Armed Forces more diverse, and this is a way to try and make it more attractive, but I highly doubt it. We have many black soldiers in our military, but when you have a predominantly white country, then you're obviously going to have more whites in the army, and they're more likely to serve in the military. So it's a push by the Liberal government to diversify the Canadian Armed Forces, which will probably end in failure because not a lot of people want to join the military right now. So Trudeau was joined at the apology by Anita Anand and the Minister of National Defence, Lieutenant General Francis Allen, Vice Chief of the Defence Staff, and members of the National Apology Advisory Committee. What the hell is a National Apology Advisory Committee? I hope these people don't get paid for that. So it's all a sham. It's just a way to make it appear that the Canadian Armed Forces is more inclusive and more reflective of Canada's diverse population, eliminating systematic racism. So again, it's all just a political play and a waste of time and money. Meanwhile, Rogers CEO, he apologized for massive service outage, blames maintenance update. Anyone who had Rogers over the weekend didn't have much service, that's for sure. Started on early Friday morning, and I know my wife, her workplace, they use Rogers, and she wasn't able to work for 2 full days because of the outage. She lost, plus she was supposed to work overtime, lost that. She lost 20 hours in 2 days. So lost wages. Just because Rogers decided to do an update without thinking about it. And without having a backup plan. And the fact that this happened nationwide is amazing. And that it paralyzed our communications across multiple sectors. Not just healthcare, law enforcement, and the finance industry, but also in factories. Where I work, we also use Rogers for internally, and it also went down. The hotel industry, they also use Rogers in a lot of cases. Small businesses were among the hardest hit by the outage, which left them unable to process debit card payments. Well, maybe now is a good time to go back to cash, to having a cash society. Going fully online with our financial transactions isn't always the best thing to do. We should be diversified. So one guy had to turn away customers who didn't have cash. Well, they can go to an ATM and get cash because they were still working. So Rogers definitely needs a plan B when wireless and internet services fail. Like even that could be true for the entire country. And they should start thinking about there should be a plan B, or there should be a backup system. Or even keep the older systems just in case. And it's still going on. Most services have been restored, and the company's networks and systems are close to fully operational. So it's not a hack. I know a lot of conspiracy theorists were thinking it was a Russian hack job. But no, it's just an update. I know, because when I used to work in the hotel industry, whenever they did an update to the system, it just crashed. It could have been worse than it was. I know where I work, it definitely was. We had to shut down production by 2 in the afternoon because there was no space in and we couldn't ship it out because we couldn't consume stock, we couldn't do this and that. It was just amazing how bad it became. So this article wants it time for the regulators, Industry Canada, CRTC, and the Competition Commission to begin and insist on proper, robust, independently audited internal controls. So you have an outage like this. Anytime you let the government get involved, it's going to get worse. We do not need the federal government interfering with that so much. But anyway, these things happen and life goes on. Just deal with it. But anyway, Canadians, let me know what you think of the apologies. Were they warranted? And leave comments in the comment section. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel. Until next time, this has been the Great White North Report.
I'm in love with the system.